Hello everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to ChasingCinema.com's official YouTube channel. I'm your host, Jacob Toronto, and today we're going to be talking about the fact that Chris Columbus is saying that Gremlins and Goonies are not sequels, they are reboots. Ooh, that word always gets me. I'm so sorry that I've been absent for the past couple days, guys. I appreciate you holding on and waiting for me. Last week I mentioned I was kind of getting under the weather and sick. Eventually that took my voice. I got pretty sick, but now I am back. So I apologize for not bringing you guys daily movie news like I always promise. However, that is over. I am back, and we're going to go back to giving you movie news every single day, as well as video reviews and all that fun stuff. Nonetheless, Gremlins and the Goonies, two movies that so many of us hold near and dear to our heart. I don't know if you could see, but both of mine are up here at the top section. Goonies obviously is a movie that most kids defy their favorite childhood film. Definitely one of mine. Gremlins is also a film that I enjoy, not nearly as much as the Goonies, but there's been a lot of talk about bringing them back to the screen. Actually, it's probably been years and years of talking about returning Goonies, at least to the big screen. I've heard my entire life that we're making Goonies 2, we're getting a Goonies 2 finally, and it's just never happened. Also known as being in development hell, which both of these projects have lied for quite some time. However, Christopher Columbus, who wrote both films, Goonies and Gremlins, are saying that these projects now are in heavy development, which obviously he's telling us that they're going to be out of development hell and actually going to find themselves on the production set probably closer than we could imagine. Now, I find this very interesting that he's going to say that these aren't sequels, these are reboots, because I would find these hard to be sequels anyway, because so much time has passed. However, we all know with these types of films, you're going to get people who don't approve by any sense of the imagination. No matter if it was a sequel, no matter if it was a remake, no matter if it's a reboot, whatever word you decide to use, someone's going to not be happy with it. Now, I think you're upsetting more people by saying reboot and remake because these people have grown up loving these pictures. Now, when you say you're making a Goonies movie and you play a Goonies trailer, you are going to have a widespread audience, a widespread fan base running to buy theater tickets, only to what they, I believe, assume is going to be disappointed. If you told me Goonies is coming out in 2018 or 2017, I would be super excited for it, but deep down, I think inside, I would know that I'm probably going to be disappointed because there's no way you can recreate that classic nostalgia. Now, I've also talked to many people who feel that these movies don't really necessarily hold up and won't work for our time, and I think that's an interesting argument. I mean, think about the Goonies. I mean, the Goonies was made at a time when going outside and adventure was something that we were actually chasing after. Most kids nowadays don't ever think about that because everything is simply on their phone. And I'm not trying to slam technology or slam how kids are nowadays or anything like that, but that is an interesting aspect. How do we make the Goonies in this time period with their phones and gadgets? Are we going to be using apps and other GPS systems to find an adventure? Do we follow the same story of a pirate ship with a bunch of gold on it? Does that work for the kids nowadays like it worked for us in that time frame? I don't know. As far as Gremlins, I think Gremlins could be pretty fun and creative. We could update the Gremlins with CGI. We could make them a little bit less funny, more scary, or vice versa. That I see. It's Goonies that I kind of go, I just don't know if this movie could be remade for our time period. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible or that, but I'm just saying I think as a diehard Goonies fan, as someone who just kind of sees what kids' movies are like nowadays because I go see all of them, it is going to be interesting seeing how they remake it. Nonetheless, let me talk about this quote that Christopher Columbus had with his interview with Screen Crush. The stuff that I'm involved with, the Gremlins and Goonies reboot, for instance, they would do that without me. So I'm staying involved so I can be protective and actually protect what people love about those movies so it doesn't go off track, which is actually a pretty interesting and great topic to think that this filmmaker who's created some of the most classic projects is standing by them and making sure that they're not ruined for us diehard fans. But I think regardless what they are, people are going to unfortunately be disappointed when you want to take on remakes. However, in discussing this with a fellow movie fanatic, Ghostbusters was brought up. But Ghostbusters was done completely differently. So if they decide to do Goonies and do something completely different or really change what we expected the Goonies or Gremlins, then you might have actually a shot. But again, the Goonies is interesting because the whole universe revolves around that time frame very heavily, at least. I just don't think kids going to a pirate ship is what would pique an interest right now. But I could be totally wrong, too. I mean, I might not just be thinking of something off the top of my head, but nonetheless. Which is really upsetting to some is that Richard Donner has been talking for a long time that he's going to bring back the original cast from the Goonies. Though now that the word reboot is being thrown around, that doesn't seem like that's probably going to happen. Unless they're going to not be playing their, obviously original characters, or maybe they'll be making cameos, or maybe it'll be their kids who, I dropped my pen, their kids who will be going on the grand adventure. Anyway, regardless of the way you think that it's going to go down, it is interesting a thought process of them remaking both these pictures or quote-unquote rebooting them. Let me know what your opinion is. Am I off? Am I crazy? Do you think that these reboots and remakes could work, or are you guys with me thinking that it's possible, but I highly doubt it? Let me know down here in the comment sections below. My favorite part about doing these videos is having this conversation with you guys, so please make sure to be a part of that down here in the comment sections below. Also, if you want to read more from the interview with Christopher Columbus or Chris Columbus, in Screen Crush, head over to ChasingCinema.com, click the news button at the top of the page. You'll find all of our daily video news updates right there. You'll be able to find this video, click the link below. It'll take you automatically to that interview. You could read more about it. Last but not least, guys, make sure to never miss out on one of our video news, our daily movie news updates, our podcast, our box office reports. Today we talked about Sword in the Stone live action remake. We talked about the box office report. We talked about The General, which is the movie of the month, and much more. Just hit the subscribe button, never miss out, or register to ChasingCinema.com, and you'll always be able to click that news button and get every daily update that we do. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for taking your time out of your day to watch this video. Please, on the way out, give this video a thumbs up. My name is Jacob Toronto, and please continue chasing cinema.